Okay, something I didn't know about SAT scores, about verbal skills and math scores. Okay, math not being a strong subject. If you understand some basic things, I didn't even know this when I was a kid. This is how delayed a lot of us were because of abuse at home or drugs or alcohol. Something that maybe could cut right to the chase to kids or families or anyone having any challenges in school. Verbal skills, learning how to communicate, learning to say hi, how are you, basic communication skills that some of us may not have been taught or maybe we didn't learn. Most children act out aggressively. Most children, that's their. You can pay attention to body language. We're just talking basic skills now. Something that they do now is they determine ADHD because of delays. Meaning there may have been education delays at an early age. And something I've been paying close attention to because at home, my dad, spent a lot of time explaining things. One of the things I would explain is if you're teaching your kids to communicate, like one of the things I want to do is sit in on the porch, talk to like face to face, hi, how are you? Some basic skills that were not taught at home. If you're like friends, same thing, you have to interact not just on the internet, one on one in a group. Something that a lot of us may have overlooked, but the internet has been used as the only form of communication, which is not true. Many of us have lost maybe touch with some friends, or things happen. When you go to a reunion, same thing. It's like, hey, how are you? What's going on? How's life? Just basically keeping in touch, writing letters, sending a card, maybe sending a gift. This is how you get to know your friends. Your friends aren't going to sit there and let somebody hurt you. If you tell me what's going on and I listen to my friends and I pay attention to what's going on, it's good to have good neighbors. It's good to have somebody to bounce ideas off of. It's good to have that kind of rapport. Once you establish communication skills, once we get into a routine of talking, you start to get to know what's going on, likes, dislikes, things like that, and you start asking the right questions. But something I did not know about SATs is that there were so many delays at home. I have a nephew who, he's paralyzed, and he has handicaps. So he's working with a veteran dealer right now, 3 days a week. And what I hope we can accomplish something. These are just ideas. They're not. Nothing's definite. Nothing's like things are always subject to change until I definitely know this is what we want. I want this. I want that. I want to do that. And I want to talk to someone about those ideas. Okay. So now that we've established that, working with my nephew, I went through some things. I show you guys some basic home-based therapy skills. I went to group. Anybody who has anything to offer, how to make a living, whether we're at home or whether we're at work, how to work out daycare issues. My sister and my sister-in-law and my brother were paying out almost $1,900 in daycare expenses alone for two children. That's to me. There's got to be a better way to afford an education for your toddlers and still have all the safety necessities, all the things that you need to do, especially now that I have friends that have younger children. There's got to be an easier way. Now, my cousin, who I don't know if they still own or operate a daycare center, this is what I find interesting about just the idea to spend $1,900 is a lot of money. I mean, that's basically a house payment. It's incredible when you think in terms of how much money goes out just in daycare costs alone. And there's things back in the day when my aunts were younger. I mean, it was not unusual to see your aunts around. It wasn't unusual to have grandma around. Utilize what you have. We have kids that have handicaps and disabilities. I give to the Children's Miracle Network. There are things we can do to cut out the daycare cost, and there's so many activities. Even if we have a van, grandma, aunts, uncles, and relatives, like to me, the dudes need to be at work. Grandma, mom, and aunts, we need to be out there taking the kids to, you know, there's a beautiful museum down over there, not that far from University of Pittsburgh, over by Children's Hospital. And to me, reaching out to the kids, reaching out, like let's get past some of the. When I pull back the screen, now you can't see it from here. It's all blacked out because it's dark out. But I have this. If you followed my post, there's this curtain I put. You pull back the curtain, you look at the screenplay. And a lot of kids that are in the theater. This is something I wanted to do when I was a little girl, and we didn't have the money to do it. I was in dance. I was in theater. I was into all that stuff at 9, 10, 12, 13 years old. I wanted to go to Kappa. We didn't have that kind of money. Now you can apply for scholarship. Before you couldn't. 1982, 1981, no. We didn't have that kind of money. And we still don't. So, applying for grants, going to Lincoln School, that's one of the very, let me just say, performing arts school. Of all the schools, Lincoln High School and Kappa are neck and neck. So what I wanted to do is, because we have nieces and we have kids in our family who are theatrical, they're artists, they're talented, they draw. Some of them are athletic. In this case, like I have a niece that's into cross country. I have another niece that's into gymnastics. So to me, there's a lot of things we can do, like learning how to do things at home, finding out what we want to do when we grow up. That's going to be the biggie, and sticking with it. We have all kinds of career ideas. We have all kinds of great ideas. Sticking with one activity. Dance class is great. I mean, it's very minimal when you think of how many kids here. There's a ballroom up there, not that far from here, too. And asking some people, like parents, like there are kids that don't get, that need gym equipment. There's kids that need football cleats. There's kids that want hockey sticks. There's kids around here that could benefit a lot. And if we have a safer neighborhood, where to do that? Well, that goes into where I was asking some of the people around here. I went to a couple businesses here, and to have like a field place where they can go, a rec center, somewhere where kids can go out, where if you don't want to have to leave your kids home alone. That's been a big problem. So having a rec center, YMCA is one. Other rec centers, like an arcade, something that we had when we were kids is an arcade. Somewhere where you can pick up your kids and you can hang out, and you can actually have somebody kind of fill in or on-call person. These are ideas right now, and they're smart ideas. These are ways that you can cut down in daycare costs, an after-school program, which I already got approved. I've kind of preliminarily got approved to work with other churches in Wilkinsburg. Same here. I've already gotten pre-approvals with another shelter in Erie County. These are really smart ways to cut a lot of the expenses out of daycare, after-school programs. You don't leave your kids void of something. They have to have something where somebody maybe can meet with the kids and have some structured time. And not to say the library is not one of the options, because I think it's a great option. There are other ideas like a rec center. In this case, there's one right down the street. But it takes money, it takes parents' participation, and there has to be an on-call person. If somebody cannot show up, that on-call parent, in this case, an on-call parent, when parents do work together, you will have probably less problems. The more you have the front and back lights on. I noticed, like right here, we got the front lights on. The more you put the front lights on, the more you engage with the police, the more you get involved in what's going on in your community. And this, to me, this is the idea. Keep the front porch light on. This is the way you get to know your neighbors. This is the way you get to know what's going on. And before you know it, that rec center, these ideas they'll come into fruition. It just takes a lot of planning and coordinating and smart people to be able to show up and do it and commit to it. And believe me, on a minimal commitment level, it still can happen. Even with like 5% of your time, even if you sit down on your free time, after you sit down and drink a cup of coffee and sort it all out, the long-term benefits of your kids having a rec center or somewhere to go with parents involved, or grandma, grandpa, you know, relatives getting involved in what goes on with your children, your neighbors, the less likely your kids will be home alone, the less likely they'll get in drugs, the more they'll, when you care about what goes on with your kids and you show up at those basketball games and those softball games, and you show up at those and they have not only their equipment, but their gloves, and they have their cleats, soccer equipment, music equipment, instruments. To me, this is what kids want. They want musical instruments. They want parents to care. Uh-huh. Like gift cards. Another thing, gift cards. Getting a gift card to go out and buy like soccer shoes, soccer equipment. These are things that kids want. Most of us are so consumed with spending all this money. And it's sad because there's parents that need that support. And there's ways to do it. Why we started a family advocacy program on June 1st, 2016. Hashtag Kids Help Kids through Children's Hospital. With that kind of coordination, not only did parent, it takes all this pressure off parents, it takes all this pressure off of relatives, and you have more nurses involved, like here at the community clinic. That to me is a start. That's where I know this can happen. I see all the positive signs of improvement. I came here from Branson, Missouri, and there's so many things that this area is doing that in a couple years, when it fully comes into fruition, it'll be amazing. This area will change. There's just too many good things happening. So keep doing the good work you're doing. Keep at it. It's positive. There's positive signs everywhere. Things are going to change. It's not going to be perfect. The Angel Tree program, the Project Linus program, all these programs we got involved in, it's all going to make a difference in big ways and small ways. And Christmas is coming up, so please give to Toys for Tots. Help us get those toys to those tots that need it, and Angel Tree as well. I can't wait. I already can't wait. So this is what we're trying to do in our neighborhood. This is what we've been trying to do. I came all the way out here hoping to see this change, and it's happening. In Springfield, Missouri, it's happening there. It's happening in Branson. There's a revival. There's CR. There's so much. Burlington, North Carolina. They do this, and they're doing it here. So this is it. To see a CR group and to have people involved and cover dishes, that's what this community needs. It deserves a chance. This community in this region deserves a chance. And we can cut the heroin overdose in half just by caring about what happens to our kids. Getting involved in that detox program, getting involved in outpatient. I saw all the positive signs of what was happening over there at Butler Middle School. It's amazing when you start to care about what happens to your community. Thank you, Butler Memorial. Thank you, Butler County. Very impressed. Very, very impressed.